FBI! Get off the vehicle now!
You can't do that!
Hands where I can see them! You're under arrest!
A $14,000 custom off-road vehicle, my lifeline, vanished from my own driveway. The thief? The 19-year-old daughter of our neighborhood's unelected queen. I'm Marcus Stone, a former combat engineer. A roadside bomb in Iraq took my leg, but not my fight. That vehicle was 9 months of my life, built with my hands. Custom hand controls. It was my only way to get to my VA appointments. My independence. She peeled out, laughing, tearing up my lawn and giving me the finger. Her mother just watched from the porch with a smug grin. In this community, Maya is above consequences. Get used to it, she said. A wealthy family with deep pockets. They thought there was nothing I could do. I just smiled. See, I don't just build machines. I spent my career learning how to build traps. They thought she was untouchable. They were about to learn the hard way what happens when you steal a combat engineer's lifeline. What would you do if some entitled kid took your freedom and laughed about it? Drop your own stories below. Ever had a run-in with a family that thought they ran the town? Let me know where you're from. 3 years back, I thought I'd found my peace. Willow Creek Estates, Arizona. 800-something homes. A quiet suburb, perfect for a guy just wanting to exist in silence after the chaos. The VA suggested I build something with my hands as therapy. So I did. 9 months of sweat, late nights, and healing. Every bolt I turned was a piece of my sanity being put back together. The custom seat, molded to fit my prosthetic, became my throne. The smell of desert mornings mixed with motor oil in my garage, that was the smell of freedom being rebuilt. Then, Diana Masterson declared war. Picture every HOA horror story you've heard. Now add generational wealth and a real estate license. Diana, 48, lives in a $1 million corner house, but rules our $300,000 neighborhood like a feudal lord. Most people keep their heads down. Retired librarian, Mr. Henderson. The handyman, Luis. Working families who can't afford a legal fight. The first week, a violation notice was taped to my door. Unauthorized vehicle storage. A $500 daily fine starting in 72 hours. I looked it up. The rule applied to commercial trucks. Mine is medical equipment. Protected by federal disability law. At the next HOA meeting, the community center smelled like cheap cleaner and old coffee. I came with facts. Mrs. Masterson, my off-road vehicle is classified as durable medical equipment. Federal law supersedes your bylaws. Her perfectly filed nails tapped on the fake wood table. Click, click, click. Do you know who I am, Mr. Stone? I am this community. A vehicle is a vehicle. Classic power move. When facts fail, pull rank. Then we should also address the real estate sign stored in your garage. Same rule applies. Her face turned crimson. The board members squirmed. Then Maya walked in. 19. Kicked out of college for behavioral issues. Her $400 sneakers squeaked on the linoleum as she pulled out her phone to film me. Mom, is this the angry military guy? Diana's smile was predatory. Maya, meet Mr. Stone. He thinks his disability gives him special rights. The condescension was thick enough to choke on. Whatever, Maya said, not even looking up. Dad says these types always cave when you apply pressure. The board voted to table the issue. A small win. But as I walked to my car, I heard them plotting in the parking lot. Don't worry, sweetie, Diana whispered. There are other ways to deal with people who don't know their place. Maya's laugh was ice. Perfect. I'm literally untouchable here. Chief Phillips is Dad's hunting buddy, and Judge Reynolds owes us favors. My blood ran cold. Corruption went deeper than the HOA. That night, I dug into Masterson Realty. Diana held the management contract, controlling enforcement and vendor selection. Every emergency repair went to her overpriced friends. This wasn't a power trip. It was a systematic looting operation. Here's a nugget: HOA financial records are public. Request them. Most people never do, which is exactly how tyrants stay in power. I started building a file. Photos. Timestamps. Statements. 3 days later, Maya made her first move. Midnight engine revving outside my house. Beer cans on my lawn. Tire tracks across the grass. When a neighbor called security, Diana answered. "Kids having fun," she said dismissively. No violation occurred. The next morning, Maya cornered me at my mailbox. Her expensive perfume couldn't hide the stench of entitlement. "Nice little toy, soldier boy," she sneered. "It'd be a shame if something happened to it." Message received. They thought money and connections made them bulletproof. They had no idea what real power looked like when you stopped playing by their rigged rules. The war for Willow Creek had begun. 2 weeks later, Diana called an emergency board meeting. The agenda? Resolution of ongoing vehicle violations. I showed up ready, but nothing prepared me for the ambush. The community center was packed, not with neighbors, but with Diana's personal army. Real estate cronies. Country club friends. The air was thick with expensive perfume and manufactured outrage. Fluorescent lights buzzed like angry insects. "We're here to address a serious threat to property values," Diana announced from her makeshift throne. She clicked a remote. Photos of my ATV, clearly taken from inside my garage, appeared on a screen. "This commercial vehicle operates daily in violation of noise ordinances." Pure fiction delivered with courtroom confidence. Then Maya made her entrance, 20 minutes late, designer coffee in hand. The click of her heels announced her arrival. "Sorry I'm late. Had to document the environmental damage this thing causes." She showed her phone, my tire tracks on public trails. Legal riding areas. But to her audience, it looked like terrorism. It was my turn. I stood up, remembering what my lawyer told me. Federal disability protections don't negotiate. "Mrs. Masterson, I have federal certification from the VA classifying my vehicle as essential medical equipment under the ADA. I handed copies to the board. Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act prohibits discrimination based on disability. Diana's eye twitched. She wasn't expecting legal ammunition. "Furthermore," I said, pulling out my phone, "I have photographic evidence of commercial equipment stored here in the community, in violation of the same bylaw." Photos of Diana's garage, packed with real estate signs and staging furniture. That violation has existed for over 2 years, generating about $36,000 in fines. Dead silence. The board president cleared her throat. "Well, that's different circumstances." "How?" I pressed. "Her business equipment is temporary storage, but my medically necessary mobility device is a permanent violation." "Why exactly?" The taste of adrenaline flooded my mouth. Maya jumped up, phone still recording. "Are you seriously comparing my mom's successful business to your little toy truck? She contributes here. You're just some angry vet playing victim." The room erupted. "That toy truck saved my life," I said quietly. My voice carried. "While you were partying on Daddy's money, that machine gave me my independence back." Maya's response sent ice through the room. "Whatever. I'm literally untouchable in this neighborhood, so your little pity party changes nothing. Daddy made sure of that." Even her mother's supporters shifted uncomfortably. The vote was close, 4-3 to table 4 comprehensive review. Translation: they needed time to figure out how to legally screw me without getting sued for civil rights violations. Walking to my car, I overheard the real conversation. "That was sloppy, Maya. Never admit immunity publicly." "Relax, Mom. What's he going to do? Sue us? We own half the lawyers in this county. Just be more careful." There are other ways to handle stubborn residents. Maya giggled. I know exactly what you mean. Want me to start phase 2? Phase 2. They had a plan. I drove home, the desert air smelling of rain and revolution. They thought they'd cornered me. They didn't know that a combat engineer's best defense is overwhelming offense. And tomorrow, I was going to war. Phase 2 started the next morning. My phone buzzed with automated HOA violation alerts. 7 complaints filed overnight. All anonymous. All targeting me. Loud engine noise at 2 a.m. My ATV was in the garage. Chemical spills. Rainwater from washing my truck. Operating an unlicensed repair shop. For changing my own oil. Each carried a $500 fine. But here's the genius part, every violation was timestamped during my VA appointments. Someone was playing chess while I was playing checkers. By noon, 3 of my security cameras had been spray painted. Professional work. No fingerprints. The work of someone who'd done this before. That evening, Maya's army invaded. 6 motorcycles roared through our quiet streets. Music blasting. Burnouts in the community center lot. The sound of engines echoed off every house. I grabbed my phone to record the actual noise, but Maya spotted me. Look everybody, she shouted. It's Peg Leg Pete still playing with his little toy. Her friends erupted in laughter. One rich kid revved his bike. Should have left both legs in the desert, loser. The taste of rage filled my mouth, but I kept recording. I called HOA security. Mr. Stone, Diana answered sweetly. I'm not seeing any violations tonight. Perhaps you're having stress-related episodes. PTSD can cause auditory hallucinations. The line went dead. 2 hours later, as motorcycle exhaust choked the air, I made a decision. I'd learned something crucial. Federal ADA violations carry penalties of up to $150,000 per incident. And they're prosecuted by federal agencies that don't care about local political connections. That night, I installed hidden trail cameras. Military surplus. Motion activated. Night vision. If Maya wanted war, I'd document every battle. At 3:47 a.m., a motion alert buzzed my phone. Through the feed, I watched Maya creep toward my garage. Not stumbling drunk, but moving with practiced stealth. She had professional lockpicks. She worked on my garage lock for 12 minutes. This wasn't teenage rebellion. This was premeditated burglary. When my motion floodlight blazed, she bolted. But the camera captured everything. Face. Tools. Criminal intent. I had her dead to rights. The next morning brought reinforcements. Luis knocked on my door, nervous. Mr. Stone, I saw that girl trying to break in last night. She's been casing your place for weeks. She's going to steal that thing. His hands shook. But I can't testify. Masterson Realty controls the maintenance contracts. She'll destroy me. Another piece clicked. Diana hadn't just bought political immunity. She'd weaponized economic fear. That afternoon, I visited Mr. Henderson. At 75, the retired librarian feared nobody. That family has terrorized this community for years, he said, pouring coffee. Maya brags online about being untouchable. Posts screenshots of her getting away with vandalism because her dad owns the cops. I need documentation. His smile was sharp. Son, I've been keeping records since they moved in. Digital copies. Witness statements. Even recordings of Diana threatening other residents. That evening, as Maya's party raged until 4 a.m., I sat organizing evidence. Trail camera footage. Witness statements. Financial records proving systematic corruption. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. Stone. It was a young, female, drunk voice. This is Maya Masterson. I want you to know something, soldier boy. I'm literally untouchable in this town. Tonight was just the warm-up. Tomorrow, I'm taking your precious little toy for a joyride, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Is that a threat? No, Grandpa. It's a promise. I own this neighborhood, and you're about to learn what happens to people who don't know their place. She hung up. Too drunk to realize she just confessed to Grand Theft Auto on a recorded line. I smiled in the darkness. They thought connections made them bulletproof. Tomorrow, they'd discover that federal law doesn't negotiate with entitled brats. 3 days later, while her parents vacationed in Cabo, Maya threw the party from hell. 60 drunk college kids invaded Willow Creek. Bass rattled windows 3 blocks away. The stench of beer and vomit hung in the air like a toxic cloud. Broken bottles sparkled across common areas like deadly confetti. But the real damage was intentional. Sprinkler heads ripped from the ground. Pool furniture thrown in the water. Graffiti on the mailboxes. This wasn't partying. This was terrorism with trust funds. When neighbors called security, they got Diana's voicemail. Currently out of town. For emergencies, contact local authorities. Translation: you're alone. Around midnight, Maya spotted me documenting destruction from my driveway. She stumbled over, dress torn, makeup smeared, drunk on privilege and vodka. Still playing soldier, Pete, she slurred, phone already recording for her social media army. Look guys, it's the crazy vet I told you about. Her live stream exploded with cruel comments. Peg leg Pete strikes again. Should have stayed in the sandbox. I kept my camera steady. My mom told me all about broken veterans like you, Maya continued. You think the world owes you something because you got hurt playing war. I'm documenting property damage, I replied calmly. Document this, she snarled, throwing a beer bottle at my garage. Glass exploded inches from my head. Oops. Accidents happen when you don't know your place, right guys? Her followers ate it up. Around 2 a.m., she made her real move. Through my trail cameras, I watched her and 3 accomplices approach my garage. Not stumbling anymore. Moving with predatory precision. One carried bolt cutters. Another had a phone with security bypass apps. They'd planned this. Remember what Daddy said, Maya whispered, loud enough for my hidden microphones. We were never here. This never happened. My garage lock yielded in 90 seconds. Motion sensors triggered floodlights, lighting up the scene like a stadium. Maya squinted but didn't retreat. Just grab the keys, one accomplice urged nervously. Relax, Maya snapped. I'm literally untouchable here. Dad owns Judge Reynolds. Chief Phillips is his golf buddy. Besides, who believes crazy veterans over respected families? She grabbed my ATV keys. The engine roared to life, exactly as I'd programmed it. They didn't know I'd disabled the kill switch remotely, turning my machine into perfect bait. Maya climbed aboard, revving with malicious glee. This is what happens when nobody messes with royalty. She tore out in a spray of gravel. But here's what the princess didn't know. Military-grade GPS and cellular cameras were already uploading everything to federal servers. Every second of Grand Theft Auto documented in courtroom-quality video. As my ATV disappeared, I felt the calm certainty of inevitable victory. My phone buzzed with GPS alerts. She was heading toward the country club. Perfect. The bigger the audience, the more spectacular her indictment would be. I opened my laptop and began typing emails to the FBI Civil Rights Division and Channel 12 News. Subject: disability hate crime with video evidence. Maya thought untouchable meant immunity from consequences. Tomorrow, she'd discover that federal agents don't care about local nobility. The GPS tracker led me down a rabbit hole that changed everything. While Maya paraded my stolen ATV around the country club, I was 3 miles away in the courthouse basement, surrounded by dusty file boxes. The smell of old paper filled the air. What I found made my hands shake. The first red flag was in routine financial reports. Emergency roof repairs, billed at $47,000 for work that should have cost $12,000. Pool equipment replaced every 6 months. Security services charging premium rates for guards nobody had ever seen. But the smoking gun was on page 47 of our HOA bylaws, highlighted in yellow marker. All contracts over $50,000 require competitive bidding with a minimum of 3 qualified vendors. Diana's companies had collected over $600,000 in 2 years without a single competing bid. The scope hit me. This wasn't petty tyranny. This was systematic theft from every neighbor. I spread the documents across Mr. Henderson's kitchen table. "Look at this pattern," he said, pointing with a shaking finger. "Every emergency repair happens right before contract renewals." My cybersecurity friend, Alex, had spent the night cross-referencing public records. His findings were devastating. "Marcus, she's running this scam in over 20 communities across the state. Conservative estimate, $4 million stolen from working families." The magnitude hit me like artillery fire. We weren't fighting neighborhood bullies. We were battling organized crime with real estate licenses. Then Mr. Henderson dropped the bombshell. "There's more," he said quietly. "I've been feeding information to an investigative reporter for months. Her name is Sarah Vance. She's been building a statewide expose on HOA fraud. Your case is the human face she's been looking for." My phone rang. Unknown number. "Mr. Stone, this is Sarah Vance with Channel 12 News. I believe you know Mr. Henderson. Your documentation, combined with our 8-month investigation, has uncovered the largest HOA fraud scheme in state history. We're coordinating with federal investigators for a simultaneous broadcast and arrests." Federal investigators. My stolen ATV had triggered a federal case. "We need your cooperation to complete our expose." I agreed. What happens next? Continue normal activities. Let them think they're winning. We go live Friday night with coordinated law enforcement action. That evening, my phone buzzed with Maya's latest taunt. A video of her doing donuts on my ATV outside the country club. "Thanks for the donation, soldier boy. Maybe next time you'll know your place. #untouchable #daddymoney. She just broadcast Grand Theft Auto to thousands of followers while federal investigators watched. I forwarded the video to Sarah with one message: "Friday can't come soon enough." Her response chilled me. "Mr. Stone, prepare for justice served with federal warrants and live television coverage. Your war just became a federal takedown operation." Friday was 5 days away. 5 days to orchestrate the perfect trap. I started recruiting allies. Luis was in. "Mr. Stone, I've been waiting 3 years for someone to fight back. I have invoices showing them charging $800 for pool filters that cost $40 wholesale." Next was my technical arsenal. Alex arrived with a duffel bag full of surveillance equipment. "Military-grade GPS tracker in your ATV's frame," he explained, showing me a device smaller than a matchbox. Impossible to detect. We installed backup cameras throughout my garage. Hidden in rafters. Behind tool cabinets. Inside fake electrical boxes. Every angle covered. But the real genius was the kill switch modification. Instead of simply disabling the ATV, I could now control it remotely through a smartphone app. You can start it, stop it, track it, even limit top speed from anywhere, Alex demonstrated. She steals your ride, you're in complete control. Wednesday brought reinforcements. Mr. Henderson arrived with 5 neighbors I'd never met, all carrying folders thick with evidence. "Marcus, meet the Willow Creek Resistance." There was Janet, whose water damage claim was denied while Diana's contractors got emergency repairs. Bob, a retired accountant who discovered discrepancies in reserve fund calculations. Sarah, whose violation notices stopped after she hired Diana's landscaping service. "We've been documenting everything," Janet said, waiting for someone brave enough to fight back. The kitchen table disappeared under evidence. Forged inspector reports. Inflated contractor bids. Email trails showing coordination between board members and Diana's companies. 3 years of systematic fraud. Sarah Vance called with the final piece. Marcus, we've confirmed Diana's using HUD housing development funds for personal projects. That makes this wire fraud, money laundering, and federal conspiracy. She explained the timeline. Friday's live broadcast would coincide with coordinated arrests across 4 counties. FBI agents were already positioned. Warrants signed. Your job is simple, Sarah continued. Let Maya steal your ATV again. We need her caught in the act with federal agents as witnesses. Thursday evening, I made the performance of my life. Standing in my driveway, voice cracking with fake defeat, I called Maya directly. You win. I can't fight anymore. The legal bills are crushing me. Ah, poor soldier boy giving up. Smart choice. Daddy always said you people know when you're beaten. I'm selling the ATV tomorrow to pay my lawyer. Tonight's my last ride to the VA. Perfect. The bait was set. Such a shame, she giggled. Maybe I'll buy it from you for $10. You know, charity for disabled veterans. I hung up, knowing she'd taken the bait completely. That night, as I performed my final equipment checks, the rough texture of my prosthetic reminded me why this fight mattered. Not just for my stolen property, but for every veteran told to accept abuse from entitled bullies. Alex's voice crackled through my earpiece. All cameras active. GPS tracker online. Federal surveillance teams in position. Sarah's van was parked 3 blocks away. Satellite uplink ready for live broadcast. FBI agents occupied the coffee shop across from the country club, waiting for Maya's inevitable victory lap. The trap was set with military precision. My phone buzzed with the final text from Agent Martinez. Mr. Stone. Tomorrow we turn your neighborhood war into a federal victory. Sleep well. Justice comes at dawn. Friday morning brought pure desperation. Diana returned from Cabo to find FBI agents requesting voluntary interviews. News vans circled Willow Creek. Neighbors whispered in clusters, pointing at the Masterson mansion. The smell of panic mixed with expensive perfume as Diana made emergency calls from her driveway. I don't care what it costs, she hissed. Find me dirt on every board member who voted against us. Threaten their property values, their insurance claims, whatever it takes. But Maya doubled down on arrogance. Her Instagram stories that morning were a masterclass in criminal stupidity. Dad's lawyers will crush these peasants by noon. Hashtag untouchable family, hashtag Dadis money. She posted videos of my stolen ATV parked in their circular driveway. Each post was automatically screenshotted by federal monitoring software. Around noon, Diana attempted damage control through bribery. I watched from my window as she visited 3 board members' houses carrying thick envelopes. The taste of disgust filled my mouth as respected neighbors sold their integrity. Emergency board meeting tonight, she announced via community email. Final resolution of the Stone violation issue. Translation: they were voting to seize my property before federal investigations could proceed. But Maya's psychological warfare escalated. That afternoon, she organized a harassment parade. 6 luxury cars slowly circled my house. Music blasting. Passengers shouting insults. Peg Leg Pete's garage sale. Everything must go. The sound of cruel laughter created a symphony of entitled malice. Maya live streamed the entire spectacle. Her followers flooded comments with military mockery. Then Maya made the mistake that would end everything. Around 4 p.m., she posted a TikTok video standing beside my stolen ATV. Tonight, I'm taking this baby for one last joyride before Daddy's lawyers make the crazy vet disappear forever. Want to watch? Country Club Sunset. Bring popcorn. Hashtag untouchable life. She just announced her intention to commit federal crimes on live social media. Agent Martinez texted immediately. Perfect. All units positioned for 6 p.m. interdiction. The emergency board meeting was pure theater. Diana had packed the community center with 30 supporters. Real estate agents. Contractors. Country club cronies who'd never lived in Willow Creek. We're here to address a dangerous resident who threatens our property values, Diana announced. She clicked through slides showing my ATV, my garage, even photos of me taken without consent during VA appointments. This individual has ignored multiple violation notices, threatened board members, and created a hostile environment. Pure projection. The vote was predetermined. 7-2 to authorize immediate property seizure. But as board members signed the order, my phone buzzed with the sweetest notification. Sarah Vance going live in 2 hours. Federal agents have visual confirmation of your ATV at the country club. Maya currently bragging to patrons about owning disabled veterans. This is about to be beautiful. Walking home through twilight desert air that smelled like justice and sage, I felt the calm certainty of absolute victory. 6 p.m. arrived with biblical timing. The country club's pristine parking lot buzzed with Friday evening activity. Maya held court on the clubhouse terrace, my stolen ATV positioned like a throne beneath string lights. A dozen college friends surrounded her, phones recording. The smell of expensive steaks grilling mixed with the metallic scent of approaching justice as FBI surveillance teams moved into position. Check this out, guys, Maya announced, revving my ATV's engine. This is what happens when nobody tries to mess with royalty. Her Instagram live feed exploded. Over 3,000 people watching her commit federal crimes in real time. Agent Martinez's voice crackled through my earpiece. All units in position. Subject is broadcasting federal evidence to thousands of witnesses. Maintain distance until interdiction. Inside Sarah Vance's news van, monitors showed multiple camera angles of Maya's performance. 30 seconds to airtime, Sarah whispered. Marcus, this is your moment. 3 years of abuse ends tonight. Maya cranked the volume on her victory celebration. My dad always told me, she slurred, drunk on champagne and privilege, there are 2 kinds of people in this world. Winners like us, and losers like that pathetic vet. She gestured broadly toward Willow Creek. Tonight, we celebrate putting another uppity soldier in his place. Daddy's lawyers got the investigation killed. The board voted to seize his property. And I get to keep my new toy. The taste of vindication flooded my mouth. She just confessed to federal conspiracy on live social media. This is Channel 12 News with breaking coverage of what appears to be the largest HOA fraud investigation in Arizona history, Sarah announced. We're live outside the Scottsdale Country Club, where federal agents are preparing to arrest suspects in a multi-million-dollar embezzlement scheme. Maya's celebration hit peak arrogance at exactly 6:47 p.m. Want to see something hilarious? She giggled, steering my ATV in tight circles. I'm literally about to take this stolen ride for a victory lap through the golf course. What's that disabled loser going to do? Limp after me? Her followers' comments turned vicious. Run over some golf carts. Make him crawl to get it back. That's when Agent Martinez gave the signal. All units, target is in motion with stolen federal evidence. Execute interdiction now. The coordinated takedown unfolded like military choreography. 6 unmarked vehicles materialized from various parking areas. Emergency lights blazing. FBI agents emerged from landscaping, server positions, even the golf cart shed. A dozen professionals who'd been watching her crime spree for hours. Federal agents. Stop the vehicle immediately. Maya's face transformed from arrogant glee to pure terror. The sound of gravel spraying mixed with her panicked screaming as she tried to flee toward the golf course. But here's where my remote kill switch became poetry. With a single button press, my ATV's engine died completely. Maya coasted 30 feet before stopping directly in front of Agent Martinez, surrounded by federal agents with weapons drawn. Maya Masterson, Martinez announced clearly for the cameras, "You're under arrest for federal civil rights violations, grand theft auto, and conspiracy to commit wire fraud." The click of handcuffs echoed across the country club like church bells. But I'm untouchable," Maya screamed. "My daddy owns this town. You can't arrest me." "Miss Masterson," Agent Martinez replied calmly, "your father is in federal custody, too. RICO charges don't recognize local immunity." Sarah's cameras captured every moment as Maya's entitled kingdom crumbled. Her Instagram live feed continued streaming, 3,000 viewers watching their untouchable princess led away in federal handcuffs. The arrest was just the opening act. As FBI agents loaded Maya into their unmarked sedan, Agent Martinez received radio confirmation. "All targets in custody. Execute Phase 2. The real climax was happening 3 miles away at the Masterson mansion. Sarah's news crew raced through Willow Creek's winding streets. Neighbors emerged from homes to witness history. The smell of desert evening mixed with anticipation. Diana's circular driveway was already surrounded by FBI vehicles. Agents in bulletproof vests systematically loaded boxes of evidence from her home office. Computers. Financial records. 3 years of fraudulent contracts. But Diana herself stood defiant on her marble steps, diamond jewelry glittering, still believing money trumped federal law. "This is harassment," she screamed. "I have rights. I know Judge Reynolds personally." "Mrs. Masterson," Agent Martinez replied, "Judge Reynolds recused himself this morning. Federal judges don't play golf with subjects of RICO investigations." The taste of absolute victory filled my mouth as Diana's face cracked. That's when the crowd of neighbors began to gather. Luis emerged from his truck carrying a folder thick with overcharged documentation. Mr. Henderson walked slowly across the street, his evidence files clutched like weapons. Janet, Bob, Sarah. Every resident who'd been silenced by economic threats. "Agent Martinez," Mr. Henderson announced loudly enough for news cameras, "we have additional evidence of Mrs. Masterson's criminal enterprise." He handed over 3 years of meticulously documented violations. Forged inspection reports. Intimidated witnesses. Financial fraud spanning over 20 HOA communities. "This woman has terrorized working families while stealing millions of dollars," Mr. Henderson continued. Diana's desperation reached peak pathetic as handcuffs approached. "You don't understand. I built this community. I protected your property values. Without me, this place becomes a ghetto." Luis stepped forward. "Lady, you charged us $800 for $40 pool filters while calling my family undesirable residents. You tried to evict the Henderson family because their son's military uniform lowered neighborhood aesthetics," Janet added. The crowd's murmur grew into righteous anger. But the moment that broke Diana completely came when Agent Martinez read the charges. "Diana Masterson, you're under arrest for conspiracy, wire fraud, money laundering, civil rights violations, and racketeering under federal RICO statutes." The word RICO hit her like a physical blow. Federal prison. Asset forfeiture. The complete destruction of her real estate empire. "But Maya," she whispered. "What about my daughter?" "Your daughter is in federal custody facing identical charges, plus grand theft auto and disability hate crimes," Martinez replied. Her social media confessions provided excellent evidence. That's when I stepped forward for my mic drop moment. The crowd parted as I walked slowly toward Diana, my prosthetic clicking against marble steps. Television lights illuminated the scene. I stopped directly in front of the woman who'd made 3 years of my life miserable. "Mrs. Masterson," I said quietly, my voice carrying across the silent crowd, "you told me disabled veterans should know our place." I gestured toward the FBI agents, the federal charges, the complete destruction of her criminal empire. "This is our place. Standing up to bullies who think money makes them untouchable." The crowd erupted in applause that echoed off mansion walls like thunder. As federal agents led Diana away in handcuffs, her designer heels clicking against concrete for the last time, Sarah Vance delivered the perfect closing line. Tonight in Willow Creek Estates, we've witnessed the complete federal takedown of a family that believed wealth and connections placed them above the law. For Channel 12 News, this has been justice served with a side of sweet, sweet karma. 6 months later, Willow Creek looked like a completely different community. The federal trials were swift and devastating. Maya received 18 months for grand theft, civil rights violations, and conspiracy. Her social media empire collapsed overnight when major platforms banned her for disability harassment. Her untouchable status became unemployable toxicity. Diana got 5 years for RICO violations, permanent forfeiture of her real estate licenses, and restitution orders totaling over $4 million. But the real victory was our community's resurrection. Emergency board elections swept out every loyalist. Luis was elected president. His first act? Transparent financial reporting and competitive bidding. Pool maintenance costs dropped 60%. Our HOA fees decreased by $40 monthly while service quality improved. My ATV, returned as federal evidence, became a symbol of standing up to institutional bullying. Neighbors stopped me during morning rides to share their own stories. "You showed us that fighting back works," Mr. Henderson told me over coffee. "Even when they seem untouchable, even when they control all the power, good people can still win." The community benefit project we created, with recovered embezzlement funds, exceeded my wildest dreams. The Willow Creek Veterans Memorial Garden opened on Memorial Day. Walking paths accessible to every disability. A therapeutic workshop where veterans rebuild lives through building projects. The smell of desert wildflowers mixed with fresh lumber as disabled vets from across Arizona gathered for our first adaptive engineering workshop. Teaching other veterans to modify ATVs, wheelchairs, and mobility devices became my new mission. Therapy through technical empowerment. Marcus Stone didn't just recover his stolen property, Sarah Vance reported during our 6-month follow-up. He sparked a statewide movement against HOA corruption that's led to federal legislation requiring transparent financial reporting in all community associations. The Stone Act became shorthand for federal protection against disability discrimination in housing communities. Letters arrived weekly from veterans facing similar harassment, sharing stories of HOA bullies backing down when presented with federal civil rights documentation. But the sweetest victory was personal healing. 6 months ago, I'd been a broken veteran hiding in his garage, building machines to escape community cruelty. Today, I was teaching other veterans to build independence while serving as Willow Creek's official disability liaison. The rough texture of my prosthetic no longer reminded me of limitations. It symbolized resilience, adaptation, the refusal to accept abuse from entitled bullies. My phone buzzed with a text from Agent Martinez. "Mr. Stone, wanted you to know the Masterson investigation has expanded nationwide. Your case became the template for federal HOA fraud prosecution. Thank you for your service, both overseas and here at home." That afternoon, as I worked in the Memorial Garden teaching a young Marine to modify his wheelchair for desert terrain, the smell of sage and possibility filled the air. Maya's final Instagram post, made from federal detention, was a public apology her lawyers obviously wrote. "I sincerely regret my actions. I was raised with privilege that blinded me to others' struggles." The comment section was brutal. Her former followers had turned, sharing stories of their own encounters with entitled bullies. Justice served. Community healed. Lessons learned. As the desert sunset painted Willow Creek's peaceful streets gold, I realized something profound. Combat engineers don't just build bridges and remove obstacles. Sometimes we build movements that span entire communities, teaching ordinary people that extraordinary courage lives inside everyone willing to fight institutional corruption. You know what's truly satisfying? Watching Maya get led away in federal handcuffs in front of thousands of people on her own live stream. Especially right after she said, "I'm literally untouchable," seconds before the FBI moved in. Marcus didn't just get his $14,000 machine back. He brought down their entire $4 million fraud empire. Diana thought controlling both the HOA board and the contractor network would cover her theft forever. But Rico doesn't care whose golf buddy you are. The truth is, this was never about that off-road vehicle. This was about people with small-town power thinking they could bully a disabled veteran without consequences. They forgot that soldiers know how to be patient, know how to plan, and know how to fight when it matters. This story makes me wonder, in your own neighborhood, how many are sitting on the board right now? How many contracts are getting signed without competitive bidding? And most importantly, when they push you too far, what are you going to do about it? If this story got you thinking about your own community, hit that like button, subscribe to Winds of Thought for more stories where truth is stranger than fiction. Share this one, because sometimes people need to know that untouchable is just an illusion. Because at the end of the day, real power doesn't come from money or connections. It comes from knowing the law and having the guts to use it.